revealed. We're asking the question, what question are we asking? Who is God? And last week we looked at that question, who is God, and we gave two answers. What were they? He is a person and he is a spirit. Absolutely. We looked at the fact that God is a person in the sense that God can connect with us. And we also looked at the fact that God is spirit. He is different than us. So he is like us, but yet unlike us. That is what we're looking at. We're going to answer that. Now, before we move into tonight, I want to read something for you. So, get your ears on and listen to this. All I can feel are the walls closing in. All I feel is darkness. It's been so long since I've been happy that I've forgotten what it's like. I'm now a soulless entity. I walk the earth broken and shattered into a million pieces. All too small to even try to collect. I'm tired of feeling sad, I'm tired of feeling alone, and I'm tired of feeling helpless. I would give anything just to feel again. It feels like I'm alone. It feels like I should be able to see outlines or even pictures, but I feel cramped and hot and uncomfortable. I'm alone. There's no one to help me out, and there's no way to get out. No one deserves to feel this way. And that's why I fake the smile and I fake the identity. Because no one deserves to feel this way. No one deserves to feel this pain. I'm so close to breaking. Too many tears, too much sadness. No one needs to feel like this. Just an empty shell waiting to be filled. I would say that was written by somebody who's pretty desperate. Do you agree? Loneliness. Loneliness is an epidemic among people in our day and age. And I want to say this. If we answer the question, who is God? That same answer will answer the question, how do I deal with loneliness? Let me say that again, because you might think, what's the connection? But let me just say this. If we can answer the question, who is God, then I believe that same answer will answer how we get through loneliness. So you ready? Let's do this. There's a couple verses in your notes. Psalm 90 verse 2 is one of them. Somebody read that. There you go. First page. Go for it.
Before the mountains were brought forth, forever you have formed the earth and the world, for everlasting to everlasting, you are God.
Cool. Thank you very much. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. What does this passage say about God? He's everlasting. He's eternal. Exactly. And that's your point number one. Write this down. God is eternal. We're asking the question, who is God? I gave you two answers to that question last week. I'm going to give you two more this week. The first answer, God is eternal. God is eternal. Now, what does that mean? Okay, he can't die. Well, that's a good answer. I like that. He can't die. What else? He always was. He was never created. Good. Any other answers? It was there and now it's gone. That's okay. Somebody look up Job 36:26. Job 36:26. Look at me when you got it. Go.
Here. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. The number of his years is unsearchable.
The number of his years is unsearchable. Great reading. God is great. The number of his years is unsearchable. Somebody look up Psalm 102:12. Psalm 102:12 on the screen when you got it.
But you, O Lord, shall endure forever, and the remembrance of your name to all generations.
You, O Lord, shall endure forever. Okay, one more. Somebody look up Lamentations. You're like, where's that book? Lamentations 5:19. Lamentations 5:19. Some of you are like, I am determined. Lamentations 5:19. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, real small book. 5:19.
Wait, 19?
5:19. Lamentations 5:19.
Oh, wait. You, O Lord, reign forever. Your throne endures and your generation. And endures from generation to generation.
All right, you, O Lord, reign forever. You guys are really stinking and catching here, you know. Anyway.
I was not expecting that.
Ah, you were not expecting that. I just threw out 4 of them, but you weren't expecting it. Okay, God is eternal. That's what these verses are telling us. These verses are telling us that God is eternal. He doesn't die. He never began. He never ended. Now, God has always existed, and He will always exist. Somebody explain how that's possible.
Because it's possible. It is not
Okay. I can't explain it either. You guys realize that everything that we know, everything that we have come in contact with, everything that we've ever experienced has a beginning and an end. Think about the trees. Trees have beginnings. They have ends. Think about animals. Animals have beginnings and ends. Grass has a beginning. Grass has an end. You, me. Raise your hand if you have a birthday. At the same time, shout out your birthday. Go. Very good. You have a birthday. Guess what? You will have a death day. Unless Jesus comes back, you will have a death day. Everyone that has ever been has had a beginning and an end. Except for God. Now you might be sitting there thinking, but we don't have an end, really. We're going to live forever. Yeah, I got that. But body, physically, going to die. Following? Okay. We had a beginning, we have an end, but God never had a beginning. He wasn't born. He wasn't created. He didn't just spontaneously bust into existence. He's always been. How does that happen? I don't know, but it's true. He's always been from everlasting to everlasting. He has always been. He will always be. He will never die. God is, and as always, He is eternal. Now, the fact that God is eternal gives us a very valuable perspective on time. Let me say it again. The fact that God is eternal gives us a valuable perspective on time. We have a very valuable perspective on time. And this is why we need to honor God with our time. Did you guys know that time spent with God is not really spent? Say what?
What?
Okay. Time spent with God is not really spent like I spend other time. Okay? If I spend an hour playing video games, yes, it's fun. But that hour is gone, and the only thing I have to show for it is maybe a high score if I did well. The hour is gone. It's gone. If I spend money on a cup of coffee, yeah, for 30 minutes, my mouth is by the way, that was an answer to the question. By the way, that is like one of the best 30 minutes of my life. But then it's gone. And so's the money. In another 30 minutes, I'll have to pee. Okay? Gone. God, spending time with God, though, is not spent. It's invested. When we spend time with God, it's not here and I don't pick up my Bible, I read for 15 minutes, and that 15 minutes is gone. I mean, yes, the 15 minutes of time, it is gone. But the 15 minutes that I spent with God, that will be rewarded. Do you know the Bible talks about our rewards? And any time that we spend with God, that actually lasts forever. So any time I'm in God's Word, any time that I'm praising Him, any time that I come to youth group, any time that I'm allowing myself to be ministered to, or I'm being built up by God's Spirit, or I'm going out and I'm serving Jesus, or I'm witnessing to my friends, all the time spent with God is an investment that's going to last us forever. Because God is eternal. The time we spend with Him will last forever in the effect of being rewarded. And I think that is absolutely awesome. Because any time that I spend on myself, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm not going to lie there. But it's not going to last forever. And there are times when we just need some downtime. I'm not trying to speak against downtime. Downtime is very much needed. But any time that I spend by myself doing my own thing, that time is gone. Any time I spend with God, that time will last forever. And that is awesome. So God is eternal. Here's your point number 2. God is, what's that word?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Somebody read Psalm 139, 7 through 10. It's in your notes.
Me.
Go. Go. Or go.
Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in
Sheol.
Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings from the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me.
Very nice. Good reading there. God is everywhere. The verse says it. God's everywhere. He's in heaven. He's in Sheol, which is the place of the dead. If you go here over the sea, God is there. If you go up, God's there. If you go down, God's there. If you go left, God's there. If you are able to go into outer space to the far reaches of the universe, guess what? God's there. He's everywhere. Somebody tell me, how does he do that? Exactly. I don't know either. Because once again, being in the physical world, I can be in one place at one time. If anyone else in this room is able to defy that, please let me know how you did, okay? But I'm only able to be in one place at one time. But God is everywhere. God is everywhere. Can somebody catch Deuteronomy 4:39? All of them, very good. All the way back. We'll just say, go, Caleb.
Know therefore today and night to your heart that the Lord is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath there is no other.
In heaven above and on the earth beneath. Very nice. Somebody catch Proverbs 15:3. 15:3.
The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on evil and good.
Where are the eyes of the Lord?
In every
In every place. Very nice. Somebody catch Psalm 145:18. Psalm 145:18.
Oh, the Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth.
Boom. Very nice. The Lord is near to all who call on him. Okay, that means, you guys know what that means? That no matter where you are, God is accessible. No matter where you are, God is accessible. No matter what you're going through, no matter where you find yourself, God is accessible. People are not always accessible. You guys know that I have a dad?
Yeah.
He's a pretty good dad. I'm not gonna lie, he's a pretty good dad. He was in the Army. He retired from the Army. He spent 20 some odd years in the Army. And when I was like 11, 12, he had to spend an entire year away from us. He was in South Korea for an entire year. We couldn't go with him, okay? That was hard. It was a very hard time, and he was completely inaccessible. Now remember, this was like 1991, 92. They did have the internet, but we didn't have a computer. So there was no email, okay? The phones, they had these things called wires attached to them, and they went into the wall. And you did one of these to call people. They couldn't even text. Call people. And they had this thing called long distance expenses. And we had $300 phone bills because we tried to keep in contact with our dad as much as possible. But he wasn't accessible. Bad dream, can't go wake him up. Okay? 11, 12 years old, so I was hitting puberty at the same time. So all these weird questions and things I was feeling, he wasn't there for me to go talk to. Really awkward time in my life. He was not accessible. And people, in general, are not always going to be accessible, even if they're not on the other side of the world. If you guys want to get a hold of me, there's a good chance throughout the week I may not be accessible. Now, you know, if you want to text me or call me or you have a question, you should go for it. I'll try to get to you when you can, but I'm not going to be always accessible. Your parents are not always going to be accessible. Your siblings are not going to always be accessible, and some of you are happy for that. Okay. People are not always accessible, but God is everywhere, and God is always, always, always accessible. Always. I started off with a story on loneliness, a story on depression, really. And so many people feel alone today. We have a lonely epidemic. We have lonely people. You give me 5 first. Right. So many people feel alone in our day and age. Just so many teenagers, so many people your age feel alone. Even some of you, I'll bet, possibly even all of you from time to time, feel a certain loneliness in your life. And here's the thing. For the Christian, we have complete and total access to the God of the universe. So why in the world do we have times when we feel lonely? Well, it's like that verse that Liz just read a few minutes ago, Psalm 145, that God is near to those who, what was that next word? Starts with a C, ends with an all. Call. God is near to those who call on Him. So if you're experiencing loneliness, my question would be, are you calling on God? And if you're like, yeah, I'm calling on God, then my other question would be this. Are you blocking Him? Because people who are hurt put up walls. Is that true? People who get hurt, they put up walls. They put up defenses. They try to guard themselves from ever getting hurt again. And sometimes we do that with God. So if you're experiencing loneliness, first I would say, are you calling on God? Second, I would say, are you putting up walls with God? You're like, I really want the relationship with God, but I don't want to give up this sin in my life. I really want a relationship with God, but I don't really want to follow Him wholeheartedly. Hey, newsflash, God's not going to share you. He loves you. He wants to spend time with you. He wants your entire heart. And if you're experiencing loneliness and you're a Christian and you're not sure why, it might be that you're putting up walls between you and God. So my question would be this. What are your walls? Is it sin? Is it a fear of opening up to God? Is it a fear of opening up to other Christians who want to pray for you and help you? What are your walls? I'm going to give you guys some time to pray. Take a few minutes, and if God's tugging on your heart about something, I want you to take some time to pray that back to God. I'm going to start a new song, and when you are ready, I want you to stand up, and we're going to sing this.